up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome to episode 98 of the Be Greyt podcast. We are back post-Thanksgiving, post-rivalry weekend. We got a lot to talk about. We got conference championship weekend this upcoming weekend. What else we got? Oh, yeah, it's your boy's birthday tomorrow. Yes, sirski. What else we got? We got coaches galore. So many coaches, so many different locations. We got to talk about it. Anything else? Oh, college football playoff rankings tonight. Very important. We'll have to talk about it. We got a ton to get to, so let's get to it. Look, I'm not going to go in depth to any of the games that happened this past weekend, all right, because we just have so much we got to talk about. Biggest thing that happened was Texas A&M on Friday night losing to Texas, therefore making the SEC championship game. Georgia versus Alabama, the rematch. We'll have to see how that goes. I'll have my conference championship picks. I will not do all the conference. I guess you know what? I'll do all the conference championship games. Why not? That will be on Thursday. But let's get into the coaches. That's the most important thing we got to get into, the coaches. Because, boy, did everything happen on Sunday. I think that was Sunday, right? Pretty sure. Sunday. So, where should we start? We already know that Eric Morris went to Oklahoma State. We already know that. You know what? Maybe we should start with the big fish. The Lane train has reached its final stop, its final destination, and that is Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Lane Kiffin is now the head coach of the LSU Tigers. It's a big get for LSU. It's what I predicted was going to happen. I think once LSU entered themselves into the coaching search, Florida did not stand a chance. LSU is simply a better job in every aspect. How do I think Lane will do at LSU? I think he will do great. I think the talent he will be able to get in the transfer portal will be phenomenal at LSU. And we already know that LSU is going to provide him with the money and the funds to be able to do what he likes to do in the transfer portal. I also think you'll see Lane Kiffin become a better high school recruiter because he is at LSU. He was at Ole Miss, a place that you can recruit fairly well, but not as good as you can recruit at a place like LSU. So I think it's really about him becoming a better high school recruiter and doing a good job in that aspect, making sure they're at least top 10 every year, and then just owning the transfer portal year in and year out. I think that's going to be the strategy for Lane Kiffin, and look, I think it's going to work. I don't think LSU fans should expect, year one of Lane to, be contending for a national championship. But I do think that if Lane Kiffin does not win a national championship within 4 years of having this job, I think that the hire is a failure, and I think it's a bust, especially with how much money you're paying him and all the drama around this hire. But I have faith in LSU. I think this is going to work out, and I think it's a tremendous hire. I give it an A+. Now, because Ole Miss lost Lane Kiffin, they decided to make Pete Golding their interim and also their future head coach for next season. Personally, don't like it. I think Pete Golding is a overrated defensive coordinator. Ole Miss's defense has not been good this year at all. You saw it in the Georgia game. You saw it in other moments like against Arkansas. Their defense leaves a lot to be desired. And, maybe he does better as a head coach. We'll see. But, I think it was kind of their only option at this point, especially with the fact that they're going to be in the playoffs. So I understand it. You can make Pete Golding the head coach, see how he does next year, and then you can always just move on and maybe be the best job next year with the upcoming cycle. We'll see. But, I think it's a fine hire. I think it's whatever. Kentucky fires Mark Stoops, goes and gets Will Stein, the offensive coordinator from Oregon. I really like this hire for Kentucky. I think he's a very good offensive coordinator. If you're going to go after a coordinator, he was definitely he was up there as far as the top of the list. and Kentucky's able to go and grab him. And I think this is a really good opportunity for them. I think it's a good opportunity for Will Stein. But, Kentucky, if they want to actually be good long term, they're going to have to give him the resources to be able to win there like they do for basketball. And I just don't see them doing that. And I think Will Stein is going to be, if he does good at Kentucky, he'll just be the next head coach at, Florida if John Summerall absolutely bombs or something like that. That's kind of what I see for Will Stein. Or he'll be the next head coach of Oklahoma or something if Venables goes at some point. Who else we got? John Summerall, new head coach of Florida. I think this was the best that Florida could do. After you miss on Lane Kiffin, your next best option, in my opinion, was John Summerall, and you were able to get that done. Do I think it'll work? Look, a lot of Florida fans are like, oh my gosh, we got another group of 5 college head coach from the state of Louisiana. I don't like it. You got a lot of look. John Summerall and Billy Napier are 2 different people. I think John Summerall is a better head coach. I told you Billy was going to fail from the start. Okay, I told you from the start. John Summerall, I have some faith in. I think he's a very good head coach. I think he will do significantly better than Billy. Will he reach where Florida wants to be? We'll see. Only time will tell. But I think this was a good hire for Florida. If you're not going to get Lane Kiffin, in my opinion, you had to hire John Summerall, and they're able to do that. Auburn hires Alex Golish. I really like this for Auburn. I was concerned when John Summerall decided he wanted to go to Florida, and then you started hearing rumblings about, Auburn's just going to promote DJ Durkin to be the head coach. I always hate when you just promote the interim. I think that is so lazy and irresponsible, and it almost never works out. Honestly, has it ever worked out? I have no idea. And I would have hated that, even though I think DJ Durkin could potentially be a good head coach. I don't like him for this. And but I love that they didn't do that, and they went with Alex Golish. Alex Golish is a really good head coach from South Florida. I think, look, it's going to be hard to Auburn's a hard job. You have to face Alabama and Georgia every single year. But I believe in what Alex Golish can do. And the main thing here is, Alex Golish has already talked about he's going to try and keep DJ Durkin. I think quarterback play is not going to be an issue much longer in Auburn, and that's the main key here for Auburn fans. Arkansas hires Ryan Silverfield, head coach from Memphis. I don't really know how to feel about this one. Ironically, I kind of like it, but I can't really explain why. Obviously, I would have liked Alex Golish more, but that obviously did not end up happening. But, I think Ryan Silverfield could work. But again, it all depends upon these teams like Arkansas and Kentucky actually trying to win football games, actually getting serious about their football program. And I just don't believe that either of these programs are serious about that. So that makes me think that Ryan Silverfield won't work. And to me, I feel like Arkansas fans are in constant purgatory. And it's a real shame. Is there anything else? Were there any other coaches? I'm trying to remember if there were any other coaches. Penn State still hasn't found a head coach, which is just a travesty. I mean, signing day is literally tomorrow, and we have not heard who the Penn State head coach is. It's an absolute travesty. Bob Chesney is the rumored next head coach of UCLA. I think that's a good hire for them. He's the current head coach of James Madison. But yeah, that is the head coaching search. Obviously, signing day tomorrow should be fun, should be interesting. We'll have to see how that goes, who ends up with the number 1 class. Any surprising flips? We'll have to see what happens. I would imagine the top 5 stays somewhat similar to what it is now. but we'll see what happens. College football playoff rankings tonight. They're going to be massively important. Let's see if I can. I did pretty good last time, I think. Let's see. Ohio State, Indiana will stay at 1 and 2, obviously. Georgia will move up to 3. Texas Tech, I think, will move up to 4. And then I think they'll put Texas A&M at 5. Oregon 6 will stay. Ole Miss will stay at 7. I think Oklahoma will stay at 8. The real question here is Oklahoma and down. So it creates an interesting scenario with this ACC championship game. If Duke wins, what if BYU beats Texas Tech? It creates a lot of chaos for a lot of these 2-loss teams. And I'll tell you what, if I'm an Alabama fan, I would be sweating a little bit if I end up losing this SEC championship game. Do I think they'll be left out? No. But after what happened to them last year, if I'm them, I wouldn't even want there to be a possibility it could happen. And if you lose to Georgia, there's absolutely a possibility. Because here's my thing. If Duke does beat Virginia, I don't think an ACC team is making the playoff. Because Duke is not making it if they beat Virginia. They're what, 7-5 right now? It's not happening. In that case scenario, you would have, let's say Georgia wins and let's say Ohio State wins. You'd have Georgia, you'd have Ohio State. Let's say Texas Tech wins, you'd have Texas Tech, and then you would have 2 group of 5s. You would have the winner of Tulane, North Texas, let's just say North Texas, and then James Madison if they win. That's 5 right there. Not to mention the loser of the Big Ten Championship, that's 6. Not to mention, if Texas Tech wins, BYU is out. So let's say BYU wins. So then you would have Texas Tech still, so that's 6. Oregon, 7. Texas A&M, 8. Ole Miss, 9. That's 9 right there. You're looking at 3 spots for Oklahoma, for Notre Dame, for Alabama, for Miami, for Utah, and for Vanderbilt. And by the way, let me just say this. For all of the Texas fans who think they have a shot at getting in, you don't. You're done. You're not getting into the playoff. There is quite literally a 0% chance that Texas will be in the college football playoff. You are done. You are dead in the water. Okay? So just stop it now. It's not happening. Stop it. But it creates an interesting scenario. I think tonight, we could see them have Alabama jump Notre Dame so that they don't then have to convince themselves, so that they Alabama, even if they lose to Georgia in the SEC championship, they can just keep them ahead of Notre Dame. I wonder if they have Miami jump Notre Dame as well because of the head-to-head. We'll see. But tonight I think it's going to end up looking like this. Ohio State 1, Indiana 2, Georgia 3, Texas Tech 4, Texas A&M 5, Oregon 6, Ole Miss 7, Oklahoma 8, Alabama 9. I'll say Notre Dame 10, BYU 11, Miami 12. And then honestly, I hope they have Vanderbilt jump Utah because I think it should be Vanderbilt 13, then Utah 14. And then Michigan should be sent into, I don't even know, the upside down with Vecna. That's where they should be sent. Yes, that's a Stranger Things reference. Season 5 came out. Absolute cinema. Anywho. Is there anything else? So on Thursday, it's going to be conference championship pick'ems. I will do all the conference championship games, even the group of 6 ones, so that I don't, just pick 4 games. I think that the transfer portal is going to be really interesting. Georgia's had one guy into the transfer portal, Daniel Harris. That was kind of expected. He lost his job at corner this weekend, or not this weekend, this year, to Ellis Robinson. So that was kind of expected. Jared Curtis is having an interesting little saga on social media right now. It was announced this morning that he's flipping to Vanderbilt, but then he comes out with a tweet that says, I never said anything about flipping to Vanderbilt. Honestly, I think people should just stop tweeting. Just wait till tomorrow and just see where he goes. And wherever he goes is where he goes. If he goes to Vanderbilt, good for them. If he stays at Georgia, go Dogs. I mean, it's just really that simple. As a Georgia fan, what do I think? I think, look, obviously it'd be great to have a 5-star quarterback. I'm never going to say no to that. But 5-star quarterbacks is never what it was never the main contributor to Georgia being successful. Stetson Bennett was a walk-on. Gunnar Stockton was a 4-star quarterback who everyone was doubting coming into the season. Carson Beck played his best year of football in a Georgia uniform. He's now at Miami looking mid. And I'm not talking about, obviously, last year. Because last year was not a good year for Carson. The 2023 season was a good year for Carson. Jake Fromm, really good at Georgia. So Georgia's never been the type of place where we're like, oh, we need the 5-star quarterback. Look, if he wants to play early, Vanderbilt's the place to go. Go to Vanderbilt. You can play early, but I will warn you, you do end up committing to Vanderbilt. You know who Vanderbilt sees next year? Georgia. And you best believe Kirby is going to remind his entire defense that you decided to flip and go to Vanderbilt. And boy, I'm telling you now, you are going to be running for your life. I'm going to go ahead and tell everyone right now, whatever the spread is for that game next year, go to the Georgia side. I'm just letting you know now, okay? It's free money, free cash. You're welcome. But that has been episode 98. 98 of the Be Great podcast. We are closing in on episode 100. That will be the first episode next week after conference championship games. I will have to, actually, now that I think about it, usually they do the playoff ranking show the Sunday after the conference championship games, or they do it maybe Monday. They do it like right after. So, because I don't think they wait till Tuesday. So, ideally, I can just get another episode out on Tuesday, just fully, previewing the playoffs and the rankings. But if they do end up just doing it on Tuesday, then I'll probably wait and have episode 100 on Wednesday, because I want episode 100 to just be, conference championship. This full regular season is over. We see what the playoffs are. We know the matchups. Let's talk about it. That's what I want episode 100 to be. But we'll have to see how that goes. I hope everyone has a tremendous week. Tomorrow's my birthday. I'm gonna have a fun time. Gonna have a fun day. And I hope everyone has a tremendous day. Don't forget to go out there and be great.